Hi, this is Danielle, the domestic scientist, and today I am going to talk about YouTube intros. So you're currently looking at my latest YouTube intro that I posted a few days ago, and I got a question from Antoinette at Ant's Place, which is one of my subscribers, and she also has a channel on YouTube, and I'm always watching her work as well. She's really great, and she asked me how I do my intros. So I'm just making a quick tutorial so you can see the process of making a YouTube intro. I'm going to go on Google and search the name of my program. It's called PlaceIt. So I just hit the search bar and it's the first thing that comes up, and I'm just going to log into the program. Now this program I've been using for a month or so now, and I really like it. One of the things I like about it is the monthly subscription, so you can, and it's like about $15 a month, so you can sign up for it and cancel at any time if you decide you just don't need it anymore, or you don't like it or want to try something else. I have several different options. I have mockups, designs, logos, videos, and gaming. And you can click on each of these and kind of go through all the things in the menu. There are so many templates in here. For what I'm doing, I'm going to just do a video because I find that the video maker has the most relevant templates for the type of content that I create. So once I go under videos, it has several different things that come up: freebies, intros, slideshows, animated logos, that type of thing. So you can kind of go down the list. And the one that I'm going to use, first of all, I'm going to show you the intro templates. Now, sometimes I use those and sometimes I prefer the slideshows, but to me, the intro templates and the slideshows are the top two categories that I look at. Now, because this is web-based and so many people are using it, sometimes it can be a little bit slow to load. So for me, that's very normal, and I just kind of take my time with it. So right now I'm looking at intros, and I'm going to scroll down so you can see what options they have, and they're constantly adding templates, so it changes. And I'm going to just, when you hover your mouse over each one of these thumbnails, it kind of gives you a preview of what that will actually look like. So the first thing I would say if you were to sign up for this program is to kind of go through each of those menus and hover your mouse over the thumbnails that look good to you. And then the ones you like, save it to your favorites by clicking the little heart over here. And then you can always find the ones that you like the most. The other thing I'm going to say is when you're looking at the thumbnails, you want to pay attention to what you're actually seeing on the screen. Because with all the dynamic transitions, it can be difficult to tell whether or not it's a video that you're looking at or like a slideshow. So if you can look at this image now, you can see that the background is actually moving. So they have actually dropped a video clip on this particular one, and the same with this one here. This one you can see the lady is boxing, so this is actually a video clip. Now some of these templates will only allow you to import pictures, and some will allow you to do either a picture or a video clip. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm just going to keep scrolling, and I'm going to just select one of these and do it really fast. And the other thing is you can always import your logo. So that's another good thing that I like about this. I'm going to come down here. This is the travel theme dynamic opener. The other thing to pay attention to when you're looking at these options is that if it has, let's go back. The other thing to pay attention to is when you see that gray text box, that text box is always going to be there. So if you are to select that, then you have to put words in there. Otherwise, you'll just have a gray bar. But I am going to go ahead and select this dynamic intro maker template, and I'm going to get started, and I'll give it a second to load. Okay, so as it's loading, you can see all of the images that are already loaded into here. So it kind of gives you a preview. So on the left hand side, we see that we have text, and you can just type in whatever text you want to put. And as we looked at the template that comes up, these two texts come up in a text box, so I can't remove it. But if I just wanted my video to move with all the transitions, I could just delete the text out and I would get the text box there. Or if it didn't have a text box, it would just play just my video. Then as I scroll down, I have playback speed, so I can slow it down or speed it up. I have background color, and then here I have background color, and then here I can upload an image or video. So I definitely want to use this one for today because I want to be sure to upload some video clips. And then on the right hand side, you can see that there are transition colors, and these you can also change. And as we go through each of the slides that we're going to build, it'll make a little bit more sense. And then there's on the right hand side at the bottom, there's another area where you can add another image or video. At the bottom, this is your actual timeline, so it shows you what your video will look like. It's a lot like video editing software that way, but instead of showing you every specific transition in each slide, it just kind of collapses them down into one. So it's a little bit easier to handle. So down here, you can play all your slides, or you can add a slide or change the slides in the order that they appear. So the first slide, you can hover over it and see kind of like a preview of what is on that first slide. And then the second slide, you can see what is contained in that portion of the timeline. So that will kind of help you figure out what you need to do. So the templates are there, but you can also add another slide by pressing this plus sign, and then you can build on that if you want more information to appear on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to just put lemon, and pay attention to the left side where it has the characters, just because it lets you know what your character limit is. So theoretically, I would want to put like my channel name, but I can't fit down the L with the domestic scientist with the character limitations on the first slide. So I'm going to just name it Lemon Poppy. And then at the bottom, I'm going to put French toast. So after I put in my text, there is a drop down where I can select the font, and they have several fonts to choose from, and I can just pick any one of these. You can scroll down and it will show you here what the fonts look like, and then as you make changes on your previewing screen in the middle, it's going to load those changes here so you can kind of see what you're doing as you are doing it. It can be a little bit slow in my experience in doing that, so I really don't worry about it too much. It just takes a moment to load. And then once it has loaded the changes, it has this X where you can like come out of the preview and actually look at your slide. So for now, I'm going to just change the fonts, and I'm just going to pick something. I'm not really worried since this is a demo. I'm just going to pick 2 different fonts so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And now it's loading the preview. Now, once it's finished loading the preview and I see what's on my screen, I like to hit this X so that it actually updates the slide. So I come down here and select Update Slide, and then it starts to prepare the slide for me. Now, I do that periodically just because I like the program, but sometimes I've had an experience where I'll put in like a graphic or something, and then I'll come back and it's just come out of there. I don't know why it didn't save. So I do kind of like to have it update the slide periodically just to make sure. Now, the other thing is you don't actually have to save anything. You don't have to save your work as you go along. It's supposed to automatically save for you. So that is something to pay attention to. But if you want to save a copy of what you're doing, you can come over here and click the Save Draft button, and it will save a copy of your project as is. And that's good if you want to compare like 2 different slides or something, and you want to fully render one video and compare it against another. That's a useful tip for that. So, but every time you save draft, you're not going to save that current draft on top of the changes that you previously made. It's going to be a separate file every time you hit Save Draft. So that's something I had to learn when I was doing it, because I kind of messed up at the beginning. All right, so over here on the left hand side, I'm going to select upload an image or video, and it's going to bring me into my folder where I have some images saved, and I'm just going to take my lemon poppy seed French toast video, and I'm going to kind of make an intro for it. So I have a little clip that I trimmed, and it's about 12 seconds long. The smaller the video clip, the better, because this program is web-based, and sometimes it can be a little slow, especially if there are a lot of users on there, and I find that there's more traffic on the weekends. So I like to just keep my clips smaller. So it takes a while for it to actually upload your images and videos here. And so while you see this little circle going around and around, that's it loading. This right here is the playback screen, so you'll see what's actually going to appear in your video, and down here is your mini timeline, and you can slide it so that you can determine what portion of this video you want to play. And for every transition and every slide, it might play a slightly different length of time, so you just have to load it in and then trim in here. And that's another reason why I try to keep my video clips that I'm going to add into this program about 30 seconds or less. So I've selected this portion of the timeline, and I'm going to hit the play button just so I can see what it looks like. And as you can see, I have a stack of French toast, lemon poppy French toast, and then I'm pouring my homemade lemon syrup on top. And so now I like the way that this part looks, and I'm going to select the crop and trim button. Once I've select crop and trim, it's telling me over here on the left hand side that it's currently cropping and trimming my video clip, and now in the middle it's loading my preview so I can see what I've just done. Alright, so now I'm looking at it. I see it says lemon poppy French toast, and I have this lovely shot of me pouring my homemade lemon syrup on top of my lemon poppy French toast that I made. So over here on the right hand side, at the top there's audio track. Now, audio track is the menu where you can actually select the music that goes with your template. It's automatically going to have music that goes along with it, but there is a library here, and you can, of course, once you're paying for the service, you have access to all of these for free. Well, you're paying for it, but anyway, so I click on that little pencil icon, and this loads up the menu of all the music, and it kind of is a lot like the YouTube Studio, where it has music as well. So on the left hand side, it breaks down the music into various categories, and so that will help you kind of figure out what you're looking for. So like right now there are 7 acoustic sound clips, there are 15 atmospheres, ambient sounds. It's really cool. Personally, I think that oftentimes the music that's already loaded with the template is often really great because it tends to be timed very well with the transitions. But you can always play through here. If you want to hit the play button, you can hear kind of what the music sounds like, and then you would just hit the select button if you wanted to change that. So over here on the right, there's an X button where you can just close out this menu and go back to what you're doing. Oh, I should also mention that you can hit the little star over here to the left of the play button, and that will allow you to save a menu of your favorite songs. So if you were to sign up for this software and you want to use it on a consistent basis, one of the first things I would do is, again, go through here, listen to all the music, and kind of load your favorites, because it saves so much time as you're actually going through using the program for each of your projects. So I'm going to close that out, and I'm looking at the transitions. Now, for me, I find it a little bit difficult sometimes to tell where everything is going. So for transition 1, I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to use this, let's say, I'm going to use this yellow over here, and that will kind of help me see where the transition is going to use that yellow color. And so sometimes, okay, so now I see that it's at the bottom, and maybe I don't want my picture to be that bright, so I can come back over here and change it. And I think I'm going to change that one to black because it takes up so much of the screen. And I like the fact that you can kind of customize your colors and kind of create a whole look. So for transition 2, I'm going to drop down and I'm going to change it to green color. I like to make my transition colors match the color of my tablescape or whatever I have decorated in my home that I'm using this for, because to me it helps it keep consistent. But that's just a personal preference. Sometimes with the font colors that you're overlaying, the transition colors have to be adjusted a little bit more, and you can't always get that perfect matching look, but I always strive to do that. So I'm going to keep on selecting darker shades of green, because once I see it on my So there is a line over here that says abstract shapes. And what that area is for is that there are different shapes that pop up on the screen and overlay over your image or your video that kind of add to the transition and the dynamic effect that it gives. And you're able to change the color. So I am going to change it to kind of like a turquoise color. And then as soon as I select it, it'll load a preview and you'll be able to kind of see what it looks like Also mention, and I should have said this earlier, on the left hand side where the text is, you can select the font, and then right next to it is a drop down so you can select the font color. And where this becomes important is whatever background image you load in the center, you might have to change the font color so that the words actually stand out against the background. So I'm going to come over to the right hand side and upload my second image, and I'm also going to do another video trim for this one, and this time it's going to be me loading the whipped cream onto my French toast. And so that's going to take a few moments to load. And then once I finish getting this one in, I'm going to hit that X button so it can really update all of my changes for the slide. And then in a second, I'll show you a little bit more about the playback speed. So what I like about the final product, when you actually render it, it does come off in an MP4 file. And because of that, you can actually adjust the clip speed in a different program. But if you do, you want to separate the sound clip from the video clip so that you don't speed up or slow down your sound to the point where it's unrecognizable. All right, so here is my playback. I'm just going to hit play to see what the top of the clip looks like. And I can see that it's a little shaky on the camera, and I can see my hand. So I'm going to slide this over just a little bit, and I think I want it to start just before my hand comes in. So what I like is that once you have the, I can see my hand. So I'm going to slide this over just a little bit, and I think I want it to start just before my hand comes in. So what I like is saying it can automatically reload itself so you can see exactly where you're going to be in your video. So I like the way that looks, and I'm going to select the crop and trim again at the bottom. And I'm going to give this the time to upload over here. And I like the fact that it tells me what it's doing so that I'm never like wondering what's going on with it. And it tells me over here that my custom upload has finished, and now it's loading the preview. So now I'm going to hit this X button so that it can, and then I'm going to come over here and tell it to update the slide. And now it's telling me my slide is being prepared. Now, the thing about this particular program is because it is a web-based program, the way the software is written, you can't just preview it as easily as you can with a PowerPoint. It actually has to do a mini rendering of your program or of your file every time you want to see the whole thing. So I like to just update slide by slide, and then it shows me everything I've just done. So you see it says lemon poppy French toast in the gray text, normal speed, and you can see down here that's a 6-second run. So I can speed it up by telling it to play 1.5 times the speed, but then that'll probably cut it down to probably 3 seconds, which I think is too fast. So I'm going to select the playback speed at 0.5 seconds, and that's going to help me to be able to read it a little bit more. So now it's preparing the slide, and every time you tell it to update the slide, it has to go through the preparing process. So it's like a mini rendering. It can be a little bit time consuming, but I still think it's worth the effort. And like I said, the more people who are on the platform, sometimes the longer it can take for these processes to take hold. So now that I have adjusted the clip speed, we're looking at it again, and you can see that it has slowed down a little bit. I like the way that looked. It runs for about 12 seconds, so I'm going to leave it at that. Now this first slide is completely done, and there's nothing else for me to change. As you can see, there's nowhere else for me to make any changes. So for this template is a 2-slide template. So I'm going to come down here and select this second one. And on the second template, this is where I would upload my logo. So now I am looking at my second slide. It's about 5 seconds, and this is where I get to upload my image, and this is where I would put in my logo. I actually don't have a copy of my logo right here. Hang on. So I have added my logo, and again, it has this area where I can crop. So I can use this zoom slider to zoom in, and this running line around here kind of lets me know what's actually going to appear on the screen. And so I can zoom in and I can zoom out. So it does not have a background, which means when you see this gray and white checkerboard look, and it's the same when you're using like an Adobe product, that means there's no background there. So this image right here will just, it won't have a white background that automatically populates like sometimes you'll have with a JPEG. So I will hit this crop button because this is exactly how I want my logo to appear. And as you can see, it's still cropping. And it's going to load my preview as soon as it's done. And now it says Danielle, the domestic scientist, and it's on the back of this travel template. The other thing is you can use the images that are here. They have a pretty decent library over here. So they have some stock images and some stock videos. So if you want to do a really quick B-roll or something, you really could use this program for that. So I'm obviously, because I'm making something personalized to my channel, I wouldn't use theirs, but they do have some pretty nice things that you could potentially really benefit from having. Now, again, like I said, for some of these, I would really download them and potentially take that template and slow it down a little bit using a different software if I really just wanted to have a little. So now I'm going to import my final video, and this is where I'm sprinkling the poppy seeds on top of my whipped cream, and it's going to take just a second to upload. And the longer the video, the longer the uploading. So, and the larger the picture, the longer it takes to upload. So that's why for videos I try to keep the trim small. All right, so as we can see, I have this slider. This is a very short trim, so I don't have a whole lot of leeway with what I can play. So I'm going to hit the play button, and as you can see, the poppy seeds are starting to be sprinkled, and you can tell it gets darker and darker. So I like the beginning of this trim, so I'm going to go ahead and select copy and trim. All right, so it's going to take just a few seconds to upload, and now it's previewing my image again. And I can see the French toast in the background. I can see my lemon slices on top of my lemon poppy French toast. I can see all this wonderful whipped cream and the poppy seeds on top. And I can see a little syrup pool at the bottom. And then my logo is right on top in the center. And so I'll just hit this X button here and tell it to update the slide. I saw at the bottom that this was a 5-second clip, so I think that's a pretty good amount of time to show my logo. But if I wanted to slow it down, I could expand it to 10 seconds, and it would slow down the video and slow down all the transitions, and a person can get a really good look at the logo. And you know, of course, you're doing a lot of this for the branding for your channel, so it's really important to be able to make sure that you're able to get the visuals in there. Now, I did notice that it looked like it had a little bit of leftover image of that travel guide. So now this particular slide has multiple areas to put in graphics. So as you continue to scroll down on the right hand side, you'll see there's another box that comes up asking you to upload an image or a video. And I'm going to click on that button and just kind of go through my folder and determine which image I want to put in. So I think I'm just going to do an image of my tablescape because it kind of goes with the scenery, and I just want to show you the flexibility for the ones that accept video clips, that you can do either a video or a photo. And I really do like that. So when you're in there, you get a chance to crop it just like you do with the video, and it takes a little bit to crop as well. Now when it comes to the pictures, you definitely want to make sure you have a high quality image, just because once it goes on the big screen, you don't want it to lose resolution and to lose its impact. And I always make sure that I use my edited photos. And now once I've loaded in the photo, I can kind of see what it looks like. It's going to give me a preview change, and then I'm going to select play all slides just to kind of see how the whole thing is going to come together. And it really helps me to see where the different images are going to populate along this video. Now, when you select play all slides at that bottom of the screen, it does take a few minutes to load. And so basically it's doing a little mini rendering. And so it can take some time. And the more people who are on the platform, the longer it takes. But I don't think it's ever taken me more than 3 minutes to be able to preview my slides. I just like to be sure to be patient with it. And when it does finish rendering, it's automatically going to play, and then you'll be able to see the whole thing syncing with the music and all of the transitions and colors and things that you have put in. And that really helps you to know that you've done everything correctly and to get an idea of what kind of product you're going to get and alter it just to your needs. You can see how the beats kind of line up with the transitions a little bit. All right, so I like the way that looks. I didn't like the orange color that's in the background. So I'm going to take this transition color out, and I think I'm going to go with a simple deep blue. And I'm going to update the slide. It's 5 seconds long, and the first one is 5 seconds, and I think the first slide is, I think, 12 seconds, and the second one is about 5. So I'm under 20 seconds for this whole intro. And, you know, for some things that's perfect, but I think I'm just going to add one more slide just to show you how to do that and where it is. All right. All right, so I'm going to add another slide. Now, when you add a slide, you come back to a menu, but it's not the same menu that we had seen before. It's a little bit more concise, I think. So there's less scrolling to the left and to the right. Everything is going to be, all the categories are going to be on your left-hand side, and your options are going to be here in the center. I like to hover again over the thumbnails just so I can get an idea of what it looks like. Now, unfortunately, this is one of the things that I don't like about this program is once you're adding a slide, it will show you a slide. However, your saved options are not going to be over here. So I can't add a slide and then access my saved templates that I use the most. So for me, I think that part is a little bit annoying. I would love on the left hand side if there was an option for us to just view our saved stuff. So I'm going to scroll through here. There are pages of them. As you can see, there's 125 pages of slides. So you can just take it down and you can kind of select any of these purposes or tags to kind of narrow it down. I'm going to select intro just to see what comes up and see what I like. And the other thing about it is sometimes it's a little bit tricky to figure out what you want to use, if it's going to be the right type of transition to go with the current slides that you have, because sometimes you don't want something that's a completely different style from what you already have going on, because when you put that slide in the middle of your show, you might not like the way it looks together. So like I wouldn't go anything with crazy overlays, and sometimes you can't tell if it's the transition that you're seeing on the screen or if that is the template. So sometimes it's a little bit of a trial and error, and the more you use it, the better you'll get at the software. So, but what I find is that even though there are a lot of options, I tend to kind of go to the same ones, primarily because I'm always looking for the video one. So I'm going to come over here and select the text on video and see what happens. Oh, I like this one. This one's nice. You see the cars. And yeah, you see the cars, you see the text. It looks very dynamic. And sometimes the templates look really good because the videos that they have in there look really good. So that's kind of something to watch out for too. Because when you load your own stuff, it might not have the impact that you want. Like this right here seems like it's just miles long, but it's more the video that you're looking at and less of the transitions. So I'm going to go over and select middle. and see what really comes up for middle. So these are slides that go in the middle of the presentation and not, that first or last. So most of these won't have logos on them. And for middle slides, I find that oftentimes the picture templates are a little bit better than the video ones. But this one here gives you both options. And let's see, I'm going to go to page 3, see if I find something I really like. This is another video one that's pretty good though. I actually like this one. It allows you to have places to really put your text down here, and it's really dynamic. And I think the better your video clip that you drop in here, the better your outcome is going to be. But I really want to show you guys what it looks like when you just put in a picture, and the picture ones are a little bit different. Now this is interesting. I think I might choose this middle modern. It's a little bit different than what I normally do, so I think it's going to be fun to just try that out, and it's going to take a second. So I'm going to select this third slide and give it a second to update. I realize that I switched slides on it. Okay, now I see the preview, and I see that there's a face here, and I see this red overlay and all of this activity going on, and it looks like the picture is just zooming in, so it looks like it has slow movement. I think that's really cool. I don't want any text, so I'm going to just take all the text out and delete it. All right, so once I've deleted the text, it's going to update. I like all the orange, but I think I'm going to change it to match what I'm working on, which is my lemon poppy seed video. And I'm going to select green. Some of the details I'm going to select in a deep blue. And the shapes are going to stay in yellow. And I actually kind of like the pink, I think. We'll see. And now I'm going to come over here and select an image. And I'm going to just do a portion of my tablescape, which I think I'm going to use one where it's just the plate setting. I think I'm just going to use the plate setting because it's got nice green color, and I think that'll look okay. I'm going to zoom in so it crops just the way I want it to, and I can drag it. I could go to the top, or I can go towards the bottom of this plate setting. I think I'm going to go for the top. I think I'm going to off center this just a little bit because of the placement in the actual video. Not quite sure. All right, so this is cropping over here. We'll give it a few minutes, and it's going to load the preview. All right, and I like the way that looks. You can see that the overlay is over a portion of the place setting, so it kind of gives a little mystery to it. I'm going to close this here. I'm going to update my slide. Then I'm going to move it towards the center of the presentation because I want it to come before the logo. And I think that that'll look really cool. So it's going to take a few seconds to process again. All right, it was successfully processed, and I see all the green, I see the blue, I see the yellow right there. It's very subtle, and I think it looks pretty good. Now this is only 10 seconds long, and I'm going to move it in the center. I'm going to take this slide down at the bottom on the timeline. I'm going to move it towards the center, and now slide 3 becomes slide number 2. And then I'm going to hit play all so we can see kind of what everything looks like. I'm going to play all slides again, and it's preparing. So once it processes it likes to automatically play. So I always want to listen for the music. Okay, I like that. It was 27 seconds. I'm going to close out of this preview. The one thing I didn't like about it is I think the center slide was a little too long. So I'm going to take this up to 1.5. So increasing that playback speed in that second slide is just going to make sure that the second slide plays a little bit faster so that it kind of has a good pace. And I do frequently adjust clip speeds within my videos so that it's not lagging and you keep the visual interest. Now, these intro videos are really meant to be content teasers to keep your audience engaged. So you don't want any one slide to run too fast or too slow. And that's why I'm constantly making those tweaks and then playing all slides just to kind of see how each one of the slides interacts and feeds into the other to make sure that I'm happy with the product that I'm producing. Here we go. All right, so now to 23 seconds. And now that I preview, you don't want to close out when you're ready to go. You hit the download button from here, and then it will help you to download. Now it's telling us that it's waiting on pending videos to process. They'll email you when they're ready. Now it usually doesn't take that long, but you'll get a notification. Now you can actually hit the download at the front, but I think it will force you to so right behind this processing your videos a pop-up that's on my screen, it does have download. I think you can hit that too without hitting play all slides, but I think it might force you to go back to play all slides. I can't remember how that works, but you should definitely play all slides before you download, because sometimes those changes that you make, you might have to from time to time go back in if it didn't save properly. And I've had that a couple times, not too much, but certainly a couple times. So for this part of the process, I have had to wait on occasion. Sometimes I've had to wait for maybe 10 minutes or so. Like if I have a longer slideshow that I'm doing or a longer video that I'm doing, this allows you to add, I think, up to 8 slides or something like that. So I have done that where I've added multiple slides, and I've done that sometimes because I want the whole song, because I'm going to separate the sound when I use it in my other video editing software, so that I have that one song play for the first part of my video. Now, that being said, if you do add 8 slides, what I don't like about the program is it doesn't automatically loop your music. Okay, now it says click here to download, and this is why this can take a little bit of time. So first thing it did was it rendered. Now I'm telling it to actually download my file. And so once I tell it to download, it's going. So in the middle of working on a project, sometimes I will download it twice if I want 2 different copies of it onto my desktop, because I'm going to do something different with the second copy down the road. I rarely ever have to do that, but I do want to show you can do it and it's not going to mess anything up. Now, the other thing that pops up on this screen is there section at the bottom that says view all, and that's where you can see all of your other things that you have downloaded in the past, and that's one way to get to it. And then we're going to scroll up for a moment and you can see another way to see all of your downloads. You want to click on my downloads and it shows you all of your completed work. So once you've downloaded something, it kind of puts it in more of a completed status, and then everything else is more of a draft. So you can see what you're working on up until you download it, and once you've downloaded it, then you can see the final rendered version of it. And so from there, all you do is download it again, and you don't have to wait for it to do all the processing over. So from this screen, you can crop and trim if you want to make an edit to your already downloaded file, or you can do convert to a GIF. Now, I've not used either one of these features for the most part because I haven't necessarily needed to. Now on the right hand side, at the top again, there's your account section, and there is a little heart where it talks about your favorites. Now I mentioned earlier that I like to save things to my favorites, so I do kind of want to show you what that looks like so that you can, you know, have a better handle on how the software is best utilized. So this is my favorite section. I can go all across every different sub menu and subcategory of the program, and I can just go through and save, hover my mouse over everything, look, see what it looks like, pick the things, the templates that I like the most, and then just hit that heart icon and then save it to this section and look at them later. So why it's important is because they're constantly adding new templates to this program. So at first I was like making notes like, oh, okay, I really like this particular template and it's on, you know, page 3. Well, as more and more templates get added, that page number is going to change. And so it really can get hard to find the template that you like the most, and there's so many of them. And then sometimes what's happened is I found a template that I absolutely love, but it doesn't really work for the project, especially the ones that don't accept videos, because when you're looking at the template and you're mousing over it, you can't always tell whether or not it will accept a video. And so that's kind of another reason why I think it's so important to just hit that save button whenever you see something you like, and then you can always come through here and unsave it if you decide you don't like it anymore. So I'm just scrolling through so you can kind of get an idea of what I have in my saved one. This is one of my favorites. I haven't used it yet, but this is for when you're comparing two different items, and those versus videos are very popular on YouTube. I am working on one, so I'll probably use that template. And here, this yellow one is the one I really wanted to use for the lemon poppy video, but I didn't use it because it does not accept video. So it's awesome if all you have is shots from your camera phone, but if you want to put in 3-second clips or 10-second clips to make it a little more dynamic, it doesn't work for this particular template, which for me was a huge bummer, but it's one of those things to take into consideration. And as we're scrolling through, you might recognize some of the ones that we had seen earlier. And also you have end screens here. So I have saved a couple of end screens. I haven't used these yet, and eventually I'll probably do a video when I'm trying to do it for the first time. But I do think it's really cool because you can have a dynamic end screen that has that moving background. And then when you go load this into your YouTube Studio, you'll just go in and plop your actual clickable end screen from YouTube right on top of those boxes, and it will make it really easy, and it'll have a fun ending to your video instead of just a plain one. So in just a few moments, I'm going to just plug in the full video so you can see it with full video and audio and everything on the full screen. But before I do that, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, if you have used the PlaceIt program before and you have any tips you want to share, please feel free to do so in the comment box below. And I will see you next time.